When elephant fights, it is the grass that suffers. And yesterday at Wadata Plaza in Abuja, the grass truly suffered. Our big story this morning is tension at Wadata Plaza, where Nigeria's opposition party battles itself. It takes us inside the escalating turmoil within Nigeria's main opposition party, where the PDP secretariat turned into a zone of confrontation. Reports indicate that tear gas was fired, crowds were dispersed, and loyalists of Senator Samuel Ayawu clashed fiercely with a faction aligned with Governors Seyi Makinde and Bala Mohammed. The struggle for control of the NEC meeting became a full-blown standoff as Ayawu's camp locked the gate, described certain leaders as impostors, and insisted on determining who could enter the secretariat. What should have been a routine leadership process became a symbolic battle for legitimacy, power, and the future of the party. This morning we unpack what happened at Wadata Plaza, the deeper tension fueling this crisis, and what this means for the PDP as Nigeria edges closer to 2027. Joining us is senior editor with Nigerian Tribune, Sam Owoko. Welcome aboard this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
All right, please, can you help me make sense of what happened yesterday? A lot of Nigerians are saying maybe if the convention was postponed, this would not have happened. At what point do you think the PDP got it wrong, really?
If I want to begin with the point where the PDP got it wrong, we'll have a very long trace back.
Okay, sir.
Let's even say it may not be very long. Let's say till Modu Sheriff in 2012, 13, 14. And that was at the early stages, the preconception of the All Progressives Congress. At that time, the discussion for the alliance, which later became the All Progressives Congress, was in the embryo. So by the time it came and took the political scenario by storm, then the PDP had one Ali Modu Sharif who was in a very serious battle with Ahmed McCarthy and so on and so forth. And since that time till today, the PDP has not been a party at peace with itself. We also remember that on the other hand, we had an Atiku that left the party and later came back. We had a few other people that left and later came back. Remember the incidents of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo tearing his membership card and declaring publicly that he no longer was interested in what is going on in the political scene, that he is now off politics and things like that. So all these things culminated in what we are seeing today. Now, what now happened yesterday, to make sense of it as you have asked, is to tell you that some people have decided to take the bull by the horns. They have decided that, look, enough is enough. Let us know who true members of the political party are and those who are like moles in the party working for another party and claiming membership of the PDP, their political party. You are claiming membership of our political party, but you have declared your intention to work for another candidate in the election. So it's time for us to sieve the political party and remove the wheat from the chaff. Unfortunately, the wheat and the chaff are still ingrained, so it's been very difficult separating both. That is the problem I see the PDP having at the moment, and it was what was displayed yesterday. The two groups came together to the Wadata Plaza, and one needed to have an upper hand. It's like a knockout stage match in football. Somebody needed to win, and something needed to happen. So we are seeing as it unfolds, because I know that is not the end. In fact, it looks like it's just the beginning, because we are going to tread this path until maybe 2027 elections.
It's sad. Now, I watched some of the videos and then I saw that at some point, police officers were fighting each other. For instance, now, the ones that came with the Wike faction and the ones that came with the Makinde faction, it was a serious scene yesterday, and then they had to fight each other. So I'm thinking now, is that not an embarrassment, to the nation? Because, recently Trump just called us a disgraced nation. I wonder if he's thinking of another word to use now. And then I also watched a video where the newly elected national chairman, that's Turaki, called on President Trump to say that come and save our democracy. Do you think it has anything to do with, the internal affairs, within the People's Democratic Party?
Turaki, Kamilu Turaki had to say something. And what he said was one of the things he had to say out of desperation. I don't see any need for Trump to come into the issue on ground. Waiting concern Trump with two political parties in fisticuffs, nothing. In fact, he may not even be aware that such a thing was going on because he has some more crucial things to look at. The issue of genocide they are discussing, they are already there trying to see how they can see the hammering of Ukraine to cease. He's trying to smoothing his ways with China and the trade and so on. So I'm sure it's not one PDP that has refused to grow up that Trump will get himself involved in. Even it's not at that level. If it was the government making a call and things like that, then we'll know another thing would happen. But that said, Aminu Turaki needed to say something. The issue of being a disgraced nation, the context is actually different. But here, if we keep doing this and we keep showing ourselves as people who have no control over our affairs and so on, hey, it's not going to be out of place for somebody to say these people get out and you are so unorganized, and by all that is going on, you can begin to say, hey, Trump said this country is a disgraced country, and look at what is happening, trying to prove or lending credence to the term, to the unfortunate description. Now that is also on another hand. On the other side is the security people in uniform who took on themselves, and those who were slapping and those who were kicking and so on and so forth. They even shooting themselves, tear gassing themselves and so on. To a large extent, interestingly, on Monday, I was discussing this, and I told people that these are my foreseeable outcomes. And I said it. I said, they are going to expel people. Expel me, I expel you. In those days, we grew up to hear of you taka me, I double you. Or either you taka me or I double you, or you double me, I taka you. A tit for tat. I expected that. I expected a clash in the magnitude of what we saw yesterday. So I'm not surprised one bit that it had to involve the security people attached to the various high-class individuals who are in that place. We are talking about sitting governors. Bala Mohammed is a sitting governor. Bala Mohammed was an FCT minister. Bala Mohammed was a senator of the Federal Republic. Sheyi Makinde is a sitting governor, and the leading one at that, because he is the one who has taken up the fight to rescue PDP. So it looks like they have decided that, look, whatever it takes, we are going to fight this out and weed the party of the darnel. That's what the Bible calls it. Weed the darnel from the wheat so that they won't look like they are the same. And on the third side, on the last side of it, because that should be the fourth, the fourth side of it is that if you know you are no longer interested in the PDP, find your exit way. That's what I have been worried about over the issue with Wike. You are in a party and you want to hold the party by the jugular. A party means, ordinarily, if Nigeria had been following what a political party should be, what it should mean is that everybody who is a member of that political party will contribute, pay their dues. It is the dues of members of the party they run the party with. But now, because some money bags have taken over the responsibility of the generality of the people, so those money bags have assumed the role of everybody else. They now play the role of you all in this. And the you all they are doing is that whatever they say with their money becomes the rule that governs the party. So that shouldn't be. If you are rich and well-to-do and so rich that you can finance, entirely carry the burden of the party, then form your own party and do that. But don't come into a party that gave you everything and you now decide to ruin the party because some people have refused to listen to what you have refused to do what you dictated in the party. So for me, it's neither here nor there for all of them, but for all the things that we have seen, we are going to see more of it. And we are going to continue in this trajectory until perhaps the election comes in.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's talk about the build-up to the 2023 elections. I think around 2022 to 2023, there was a crisis too, and that was the fact that was because the presidency was zoned to the north, and then the likes of Wike, the likes of Makinde said, "Oh, Iyorchia, you must leave." You know, once the presidency is zoned to the north, and because of that, they formed the G5. I'm speaking of Makinde, speaking of Wike, you know, Ipiazu, Autumn, and the likes. But yesterday, Samuel Autumn was even sent out of the hall.
Yes.
I watched the video, and then people are asking what went wrong with the G5. These people were friends. They came together to say that we are not going to allow Atiku do this to the party. But it appears that those that formed the G5 back then, they don't want to see eye to eye anymore.
For me, that's also part of the trajectory. One of the issues I learned about the G5 is that somebody in that G5 was assuming the role of be all, have all and be all. And others said, no, it shouldn't be. You know, one of the people I pity most is Samuel Autumn. Samuel Autumn was elected on the platform of the APC. When the killings in his state became unbearable, because this genocide we are talking about now, in fact, the day Samuel Autumn chose to leave the APC was the day they conducted a mass burial in, I think it was somewhere in, I'm trying to remember the name of the local government now. At that place, the people were telling him openly that if you belong to a party that is in government at the federal level, and this is happening to you, only God knows what will happen if you are not in the same party with former President Buhari, who is late now, and the APC. So they told him to leave that party, and he left, and he was re-elected. So upon his re-election, he became a member of the PDP, and Wike was a governor who was in PDP. Seyi Makinde had won his election. He was in PDP. Okezi Bazu was there too. And the fifth one, the guy in Enugu, you know. So these five said, okay, they came together to confront Atiku and said, look, you have to zone the presidency to the south because the north had 8 years. Atiku said, okay, let's zone it to the southeast and I will not contest. Wike said no, zone it to the south. Everybody else said no, zone it to the south and leave us to decide on what to do. It could be southeast, it could be south-south, it could be southwest. But the internal argument, the tiny argument was all others have had a stint at the presidency. Let the southeast have it. Others said no. Atiku said, okay, if it is going to be that, then the northeast too have not had the opportunity of producing the president. So I'm going to contest if that's the case. And all hell was let loose. So they had to form the alliance and work against Atiku. And that was part of the things that threw Obi out of the equation and so on. Because what people thought was, okay, Obi and Wike was going to slug it out. But Atiku knew what he saw. Even when he won the primary, everybody thought he was going to pick Wike to be his running mate. He didn't pick Wike to be his running mate. And that was the last straw that broke the camel's back. And that is where we are till today. Now, the G5 itself have now seen that thing which made Atiku to jettison Wike and go for Ifeanyi Okowa, who was the governor of Delta State then. So what is that which they have seen? The man who is considered to be above every other thing except himself. He is the only right one, and so on and so forth. So others saw it as that, because I personally am not a fan of Wike. Perhaps people would have been hearing it from I've known him since 1999 when I was a correspondent in Rivers State. As a journalist, already a correspondent, and I knew when he was a local government chairman. We know a few things about his politics and his ways. So it has not changed. Rather, he has got more fervor. He has more wings now. He has grown stronger in that. And yes, with an office as important as the FCT minister, he has grown wings and he's doing it, showing it in every way. So what others in G5 are doing is simply to tell him that, look, you are not the only one. You cannot be the only one directing the affairs of everybody else. There should be contributions by people. And that is what I think is playing out today. So it's like the last fight for the life of the PDP as a party and the lives of those individuals as political players themselves. So it's like a fight for their lives, of that of the party and that of the players in the group.
Okay, so let's talk about Adeleke of Osun State now. He was not present on Saturday for the convention, and some Nigerians are saying if care is not taken, it might be a scapegoat. Why are they saying that? I had to make some research to see that, for an election that will come up in 2026, a primary must come up this December, around December 15, so that maybe you can get the ticket and they can slug it out. But for a convention that INEC was not even present at the convention, because according to Ayawu, he's the national secretary and he's supposed to notify INEC. But then I think I listened to the newly elected chairman yesterday. He said that they notified INEC and then INEC said, okay, we have received your letter, but then INEC decided not to show up. But now this is the problem. People are saying that if care is not taken, Adeleke might leave PDP soon, maybe move to ABGA or any other party just so he can secure the ticket. And they are saying that why is it that the PDP members are not considering the fact that one of them is contesting for next election. Talk about Makinde now. I mean, he served 2 terms, he's leaving. But then let's talk about Adeleke now. What do you make of all of this? Because Nigerians are saying PDP is trying to make him the scapegoat of all of this that is happening.
Unfortunately, even if he remains in the PDP and contests on the platform of the PDP, he may end up the way the Zamfara people ended up. APC won all the elections in Zamfara. But somebody just went to court and said, look, this party, on this basis, this party did not win the election. And the courts cancelled all the elections and installed PDP. That's why you have PDP in Zamfara State. One of the questions people would ask is, if Adeleke was at a convention and everything goes everything went according to they had planned and they did everything, who will sign Adeleke's nomination? Because the party has 2 factions. There is Samuel Anyanwu and the Taufik Arakpaja. They are the 2 secretaries now. And if he gets the nomination of the PDP, which looks natural because he has a right of first refusal as the governor, if he gets the party's ticket, who will sign it? Who will nominate him to the INEC and so on? So that will create a problem for him. So for that, he had to stay away. And while the political, let me call it shenanigans, are going on, he has to look for a way to fight for his own political life. He has to fight for his political life. I remember it happened in Delta State. Senator, I've forgotten this man's name. I'll remember his name. He went to this party with a squirrel, ACPN.
Okay.
Yes, that's the party he went to. Senator, I have his name. When they refused to give him the ticket, he said, okay, I'll show you that I'm the one in charge of this party. He left the party, went to ACPN, which was unknown, won the senatorial election, and then went back to PDP.
Oh.
Senator, I've forgotten his name, So that happened. That could also happen in Osun if the APC, which is fighting with it, does not relent. Because some of us are also thinking that maybe somewhere deep down, the political parties in place in Osun are one way or the other trying to gauge the signals coming from the presidency, or listen to the body language, listen to the unspoken words, the non-verbal communication coming from there, so that they will now know the next move to make. So to a large extent, Adeleke had to play smart. Adeleke did well by staying away, by my own reckoning. But the PDP has not done well by leaving him in this kind of limbo.
Okay, let's talk about the judiciary now. Some persons are also saying they think the judiciary is compromised in terms of the court ruling, because I read that at the point, a certain court allowed for the convention to hold, but then other courts are saying the convention should not hold. And then they had to obtain a court ruling in your state, and that was why the convention held. Let's also talk about Sule Lamido. Because, I mean, INEC is saying they should give Sule Lamido, the right to also obtain the form before the convention can hold. All of this is happening now, and they feel like maybe the court is working hand in hand with a certain faction of the party. What do you make of that?
Now, I have always maintained, excuse me, I have always maintained that the judiciary is not an untainted amicus in this whole matter. The judiciary hasn't been completely unblemished. They have a lot of role to play in this, and it's indeed affecting how a lot of things are playing out in what is going on. On 2 occasions, the parties have argued that the Supreme Court says internal matters of the party should not be taken to, should not be adjudicated upon. That's what the court said. And people will say, okay, my right has been infringed upon by so-so actions of the party. So they still need the court to do these things. But where I have a problem is not that people go to court to fight for their rights. But the problem I have is I will go to a court, get an injunction, and you will go to a court of equal jurisdiction to get an injunction that is just exact opposite of what I got from the same court. So it becomes a problem. And that's one of the problems bedeviling the People's Democratic Party. In fact, there was a time they were ridiculing the judiciary in Rivers State when Wike was the governor. There's a judge, I don't want to mention his name. People were saying, you want me to, they will mention his name, I will do this to you now. And it became a joke. That is the kind of joke some aspects of our judiciary have become. So, to me, the judiciary has not played the game well in this. It should be firm in deciding that, look, your matter is your matter. These are the judgments. Go harmonize all these things and bring it as one matter, and let's decide this once and for all. But because of the actors in this cinema, actors in this film, it's been very difficult for the judiciary to say no and stand by its decision. So it's a big problem, and the judiciary itself has to look inwards and know what it's doing. Look at INEC. INEC will tell you that, look, I have a court order saying I should not do this. But there would always be another order saying you should do the same thing. Meaning that INEC will be left in a quandary. And while in that dilemma, it will now decide which one to obey and which one not to obey. And it will not seek further clarifications. The judiciary deliberately will give judgments that will leave people with so many interpretations of the same judgment. So those things are not helping us, and judiciary is not doing well regarding that, I must say.
Okay, let's talk about Wike now before we leave, because I also watched a video where the newly elected chairman said that the President Tinubu should call Wike to order. Don't you think that is trying to invite the president, who is a member of another party, to interfere in the affairs of the PDP? Because that's what some Nigerians are saying, that why should you call on President Tinubu to come and interfere in this matter? Can you not find a way to settle it amicably?
If the president is the one Wike will listen to, then they are right to call him to order, because he is working for him first and foremost, and he's campaigning for him secondly. So if the president is the one whom he will listen to and jettison everybody else, maybe the president should help to do that, because already it's out there. He has proclaimed, he has declared his interest in working for the re-election of the president. And his declaration that he's going to work for the election of the president means that he's not going to work for the People's Democratic Party. So why is he still in the PDP? That is the same problem people have with someone like Kefas, who has postponed his own defection indefinitely now because of the, he said it's because of the abduction of girls from Yobe's girls' school. The man in Plateau, Muftang Caleb, I find it difficult pronouncing his name, I'm sorry. He has decided to, I mean, he was ambivalent too. He left, he was in a kind of quandary himself. But people are saying, look, come out if you want to, if you, there is this thing I saw on a video. If you want to talk to me direct. No, they pass corner.
Don't go through corners.
Yeah, no go through corners. Muftang is passing through corners. The man in Nasarawa, or is it no, there are a lot of them like that who are standing on the edge, waiting for the right signal to leave the PDP. And these are the people telling the PDP to reconcile. So if you are working for Tinubu, come out plainly and work for Tinubu and shed the garb of PDP and remain yourself. That's what Wike should do. You cannot stay in the party, be ruining the party, and be telling the party you still want to be in control of the party. Something has to give, and that has to be Wike. So if it takes the president to call him to order to behave well, if that's the language he wants to hear, I think it's in order for them to call on the president, because what is going on also reflects on the image of the country on whom the president is sitting, I mean, the country which the president is administering. And if you are ruling a country that is in this kind of disarray, I think it demands that certain actions should be taken. If it's the president that will help us in that regard, let's have it.
Some people don't think he's going to listen to the president.
Well, I would like to see that play out, because for me as a person, I have come to the conclusion, personal, that Wike may not survive the political whims and political caprices that will begin to unfold as 2027 begins. You know, this is 2025. By next year, by God's grace, we shall all wait to see how the campaigns and other things will start. I don't personally see Wike running the whole course as a minister. I don't know. I'm only thinking. I'm thinking aloud. He may not run the course as a minister, and his political denouement is in the corner. He's looking at it right ahead of him.
Okay, now, so before we go now, let's talk about how peace can come in. Yes, we are not, myself and you are not part of the PDP, but we can actually still talk about certain things that can be done. Because one option is telling the president to win on this matter. What other options are available for the PDP now? Because I also read a story, I think yesterday night, where the faction of Anyawu suspended Makinde, suspended Dauda Lawal Zamfara.
Expelled.
Yeah, expelled rather, thank you. They expelled all these members from the party. So what do you make of all of this? Because there was an expulsion on Saturday, I think with Anyawu, with Fayoshe is not even bothered about this whole thing. I think he has another issue with the former president of Nigeria, that's Obasanjo. They are still slugging it out. And then yesterday I read a story where he said he belongs to the zoo and all of those. So I don't think he's bothered about the old PDP drama. But let's talk about those that are bothered about this and they've been expelled from the party just yesterday. Which body do you think can win on this matter to bring peace, to the PDP?
You see, in the end, yesterday, you notice that Bala Mohammed had to kind of take charge. And they eventually went and sat in the party secretariat and did what they wanted to do. Now, the expulsion of Makinde as a member of the PDP and the dissolution of the party's executive in Oyo State and so on and so forth is just like a tit for tat thing. I don't think it holds any credibility. It has no basis. If it has a basis, we'll wait to see in the coming days and weeks. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, the expulsion of Wike and co. would be argued as something that also has no basis, because INEC, which was supposed to supervise or monitor or oversee the convention, was not there and will not give a report since it was not there. However, at the end of it all, because what we are looking at is what should we do to save us of all these problems, all these eyesore. At the end of the day, they will still discuss, there will still be a round table. There is something that has always agitated my mind. Not agitated my mind per se, it's something I have been ruminating on personally. After the 2027 elections, which is the basis for all this wahala, after the 2027 elections and President Tinubu gets his second term, who is the next rallying point in any of the political parties? Nobody. Atiku is way too old to continue like that. No,
people are saying Atiku might still contest. Should he not win?
At how old? So he is way too old. He should just be a godfather. So who will be the next rallying point in APC, in PDP, in ADC, and so on and so forth? Maybe ADC will say, okay, we have David Mark, we have Atiku, who will be very old now, and so on and so forth. Well,
is he an option?
Well, I don't think so. Okay. Personally, he may appear like an option, but I don't think so. So who is going to be the next rallying point after 2027? I haven't seen any strong one. And because of that, it is going to be a huge, huge, huge implosion for the things we are witnessing now in PDP will still happen in other political parties, including the APC, which is keeping quiet. If anybody is asked off the cuff, who is the chairman of the APC, I'm sure it will take you a little while to think about what his name is.
You watched that.
You know?
Yeah.
You watched that.
Yeah.
That's because he just came, and so I am of the opinion that if these people, after all this storm and everything, they will still come to the round table. They will still sit down and say, you this guy, now what for you, and things like that, and they will sort themselves out. But hey, before you do that, don't ruin the country for those of us who are on the sidelines and who are making legitimate efforts to live as good Nigerians.
And they should give Nigerians option. Honestly, do not leave them with one political party, because if you are complaining about one party state and then people do not have options to vote, I think it's sad. But then, what's the body language of Makinde? Do you think he might contest for presidency?
I don't think he's ripe for that.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. A big thanks to you, Samuel Kosino, editor with Nigeria Tribune, for being a part of this session this morning. We do hope that PDP will find a way to settle all of this, and then the next time we are talking about that party, to be that, oh, thank God, one miracle happened, and then they found a way to settle things amongst themselves. Okay, a house divided against itself cannot stand, and what unfolded at Wadata Plaza yesterday is a powerful reminder. Today's big story has taken us into the heart of a party at war with itself, a party wrestling over leadership, control, and direction. The tear gas, the blocked gates, the confrontations and counterclaims all point to a deeper crisis that threatens the PDP's stability and credibility at a critical moment in Nigeria's political journey. A big thank you to you once again, Samuel Kosino, editor with the Nigerian Tribune, for helping us navigate the layers of this unfolding drama. As the PDP continues to battle itself from within, the question remains, can an opposition divided at its headquarters truly stand strong before the nation? Time will tell. This has been the big story on Daybreak Live. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakwamsin. Thank you for being a part of this segment. Please stay with us because Trend Watch will come up soon. We take a short break.